Hey everybody, this is Brian. Welcome to Chiller Night Live. We're from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until 9 o'clock. We'll talk about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal. You pick the topic and we will make a show out of it. So, how is everybody doing tonight? Stephanie says, hey y'all. Hey Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day, a fantastic week. And hopefully you're out there enjoying haunted attractions and watching your scary movies and all that good stuff that comes with the Halloween season. Speaking of Halloween season, we have Super Pappy says, Heidi Ho! Hey, Heidi Ho! Super Pappy, thanks for joining us. We have Jack Shadow's House of Terror going on right now, and every week we have a giveaway contest. Now, you're eligible to win, to enter to win, if you just simply go through the haunted house with a general admission ticket, and at the end you have the opportunity to sign, or to provide your name and contact number, and we will do a drawing every Sunday to see who wins. So, this is our second giveaway prize, and the winner was Melanie Irwin. She wanted to, we gave them a choice this week, either Chucky or the Sam from Trick or Treat, and Melanie chose Chucky. So congratulations, Melanie, for winning Chucky at the Jack Shadow House of Terror. I appreciate you coming through and for entering in the contest. So congratulations. Stephanie says, great. Al says, hi everyone. Hey Al, thanks for joining us. Yes. Yeah, it's kind of cool because this is really the first year that I remember doing something like that. It was actually Ava's idea. That was her. She put all this together, so I appreciate her doing that. Dee says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dee. Thanks for joining us. But we got 2 weeks left. 2 weeks left. So we have a Sam, the little creature there from Trick or Treat with the pumpkin head, Sam Hain. And we also have another Annabelle doll to give away. So I think this coming week, I don't know if Ava's watching, are they going to pick which one they want between the two? I don't see why not, but either way, they'll get to Jadarius, if I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. Hello from Delaware. Hey, thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. But yeah, we'll have 2 more weeks left for Jack Shadow's House of Terror and for the giveaway prize. So, appreciate that. This Saturday and next Saturday on the 19th and the 26th was the, let's see there, Jack Shadow's House of Terror. 19th and the 26th, you can see it highlighted there in green. And over to the left there, you see the no scare hours are from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Now we say that's for the kids, but quite honestly, I had an older couple call this week and want to know if they can go through it. Why, yes, you can. That is just a no scare. I guess I think more of the kids enjoying that, but if there are some adults out there who want to go through the no scare hours, you're welcome to do that. You're welcome to join us between 3 and 5 p.m. And then the regular scares begin from 7 to 10 at Jack Shadow's House of Terror. I hope everyone's having a good haunt season so far. Bonehead says, hey, hello, Chiller Night crew and Brian. Hey, Bonehead, thanks for joining us. Pronounced like gibberish. Gibberish? Okay. Well, that's probably what I made it sound like. Dee says, we plan on being there this Saturday. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Looking forward to seeing you. Now that Jack Shadow knows who you are. Bonus says, what's new in your neighborhood, Brian? Well, we are just, just running the haunt and the escape rooms. We're running the escape rooms as well. So, busy month. And we got a birthday party coming up in the Chiller Night store also Sunday. That's going to be Sunday. I can't add anything else on there's my Chiller Night store at the Cranberry Mall in Venango County, Pennsylvania. I would say Venango because weirdly enough, Venango and Butler County are right beside each other, and there's a Cranberry Mall in each of those counties. So that surely doesn't confuse anybody. I've had customers, wind up in the one down near Pittsburgh and say, "Hey, where are you located?" Well, Venango County. All right, so Bonus says, I speak fluent gibberish. Aha, well, that's good to know. Good to know. Always helps. 2 weeks left for the haunted house. Oh, yeah, I wanted to say also, Chiller Night Theater, the reason we all started coming here to begin with. Chiller Night Theater, hosted by Jack Shadow. Of course.
Visit Jack Shadow's House of Terror Haunted House every Friday and Saturday night in October from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Cranberry Mall in Venango County, PA in the Chiller Night store. We've got no scare tours for the kids on Saturday, October 19th and 26th from 3 to 5 p.m. Online ticket purchases get $2 off general admission price at chillernight.com. Jack Shadow and his ghosts and ghouls will be ready. Will you?
I actually, I probably shouldn't even admit this, but I meant to hit a picture of Jack Shadow, but instead you got to see the haunt ad, which is okay too. So, Chiller Night Theater, hosted by Jack Shadow. That's where I was going with that. But you can watch it every Saturday night, beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Stream TV. You can see up here above the Chiller Night logo there, Stream TV, and then you can watch that at streammedia.tv. Can you see it up there? I don't know how clear that is against the blue sky. I moved it up there. Probably shouldn't have. But let me see if I can just... I'm almost afraid to... Can I grab that? I can. There we go. We'll put it down here. We'll put it down here where it's a little more visible. Streammedia.tv. You can check that out. They'll play 4 back-to-back episodes of Chiller Night Theater. Pretty cool, I think. And then also, just to make things, you thought that was cool. Well, we'll just add to that. New York 48, WWON-TV, plays Chiller Night Theater every Saturday night at 11:58 p.m. Eastern Time. So there you have a couple options on how to watch Chiller Night Theater. And if you're one of our YouTube viewers, you can actually just watch episodes right there on YouTube. We have plenty on there. Let's go back here. Jadarish, why? She says, I'm actually Lori from the Tops Paranormal team. Okay, all right. Well, you know what, Lori? I'm calling you. You're Lori now. I'm not gonna trip over my tongue every time I go to say your name. It's all right. So now we know. Well, thank you, Lori. I appreciate you letting me know. Hello makes for a great cover name. Yeah. Stephanie says, cool commercial, Brian. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. Bonus says, that commercial scared me, Brian. Now I have to go into therapy. Ha. All right, that's what we want. We don't want too many people getting through us in October without some kind of trauma. John says, greetings and welcome to our favorite part of the week. It's time for Chiller Night Live. This is Crozak the Grand, and now here's the reason why we are here. He's the reason we have a thing for all things that go bump in the night. And now, enough of me. Here's our host, Bryan Hogue. Well, thank you, Crozak the Grand and John. Much appreciated. Stephanie says, yep, I can see it. All right. Cool. Stephanie says, love the jack-o'-lantern. You know, that is an actual jack-o'-lantern that I did carve a little while ago, but it is from these hands created it. So, yes. Pop. Little movie magic there, yeah. But yeah. I wonder if I could somehow put a flame in there. I probably could. D says, I love Jack Shadow. He's right up there with Elvira for me. Face blue, star eyes. Ah, that's cool. Very, very stellar compliment there. Thank you. Bonin says, hey, Bryan. Anyways, could you re-upload some of your older episodes? I'll have to think about that. I don't really want the Sleepy Hollow Theater ones on there, just because, like, quite honestly, I just, the Chiller Night Theater ones are that's kind of what I'm trying to push or promote. I guess I sound like a dealer. I don't know. I have to give it some thought. I don't know. I just don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll consider it. I don't want to confuse people. Is it Sleepy Hollow Theater or Chiller Night Theater? Lori says, that's fine, LOL. I don't blame you. Tom says, greetings all. Hey, Tom. Thanks for joining us. Bonin says, oh, Lordy, Bryan. I know about trauma, LOL. Oh, no. Tyler says, watching Alien Romulus as I'm watching this. Oh, well, thank you for joining us, Tyler. I'm glad to be sharing your divided attention there with Alien Romulus. I feel kind of honored. I hear that that's a good movie. I hear some good things about it. Bonehead saying, Tom Paisley, hey, hello. Brett says, hey, Bryan. Hey, Brett, thanks for joining us. Stephanie says, Tom, we missed you, buddy. Bonehead says, I missed you, Tom, but I'll bet you was glad you didn't have to put up with me. No problem, Bryan. Just thought I'd ask. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've been asked that before. It's fine. It's just that I thought about that because I actually switched. We used to have them on there, and then when I switched over to Chiller Night Theater, I switched the name of the account to Chiller Night Theater, and then to Chiller Night because, quite frankly, I mean, it's not even a secret. Obviously, this show is the heart of the page anymore. The Chiller Night Live show, rather than Chiller Night Theater or Chiller Chat anymore. Anyway, so I just figured, we'll call it Chiller Night, and then we can have everything related to Chiller Night on here. So. Chiller Night. Let's see, photo up. 2 weeks on the house. Chiller Night Theater. Oh, fan art. I wanted to put this up here. This is pretty cool. This was sent. It was actually posted on Jack Shadow's House of Terror Facebook page by an artist named Dave Dunlap. He drew this picture of Jack Shadow. So I asked Dave if I could share that with everybody here online, and he said yes. So Dave, very cool picture of Jack Shadow. I really appreciate that. I know he does. So that's very cool. Anybody else, whenever, the few times that I've had that type of thing occur, I like to show it and share that with all the viewers. So very cool. Brett says, just me, Lester, and the ghost here at the mall. Oh, very cool. Well, it ought to be nice and creepy there after, it's after 8 o'clock, so, I mean, it's just you guys. Oh. I was going to say they need to make it 9 o'clock, but I guess let's just work on 8. See if we can get more people there. John says, question, what did you think of the messenger posting I sent on the new Megatron and Grimlock Transformer robots? Also, the dark side of Calvin and Hobbes is in keeping with the season. The dark side of Calvin and Hobbes. Oh, I haven't seen that. I used to read Calvin and Hobbes like back in the 90s, like early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. The Megatron and the Grimlock Transformer robots, those are really cool. Have you guys ever seen any of that stuff? I don't know if you can post links on here, John. Now, John's on Facebook. He's one of our Facebook viewers, so if you're on YouTube, you can't see that. But those are really, really, like, it was really pretty advanced, you know? Like, this just does what a Transformer does, but it's all automated, and this thing, you know, turns into like a Megatron, and it's got the original actor's voice for Megatron, you know, speaking the dialogue. It's really pretty elaborate. If you mentioned the price of that, I don't remember, but I can imagine it's probably pretty costly. And then it, you know, transforms back. Bonuses. I swear I didn't ask you before. I meant if you had any Chiller Night episodes that you hadn't uploaded. I know how YouTube used to torment you. Oh, the Chiller Night episodes. I used to have a bunch of them on there, and YouTube cleaned a bunch of them out. So, I'll take this the fan art off there. But thank you, Dave Dunlap from California, for posting that picture, sending me that fan art of Jack Shadow. Much appreciated. So, and if you ever do anything like that, I will be very happy, any of you, to put that up on the screen. That art is amazing. Stephanie says, yeah, very cool. D says, so who else queued up a bunch of horror movies on their streaming channels? I have 160 plus so far. I don't think I'll get them all viewed before Halloween. No, yeah, probably not. I don't even know if that's healthy. Sure it is. Sure it is. Wow, cool art, D says. Pat Savan says, screen captured picture, thanks. Screen captured picture, thanks. Oh, did you? Oh, that's pretty cool. Brett says, it used to be 9 for a long time. I know. In fact, I think I may be wrong on this, but I thought that when I first started down there with the store, I thought it was at 9 o'clock. I might be wrong on that, but I don't know. 8 seems kind of early, but I don't know. We'll get some stores in, or we'll get more going on there at the Cranberry Mall. And then we'll open it up till 9. Stephanie says, hey, D, I got a few channels to watch horror movies. Bonin says, Brian, I watched the old Inspector Pink Panther cartoons. Oh, yeah, I remember those. They had a mini marathon of them. Do you remember him? With the sidekick Sergeant Doo-Doo. No, I remember Inspector Clouseau, and his remember his buddy there, his housekeeper guy, Kato. They used to always attack each other, so they could stay honed in the skilled arts of martial arts and all that. And it was pretty funny movies. Patty says, D, I have 3 lists on Fandango, 400 movies. What? Brett says, sure was. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that long ago that it was still open till 9. John says the Calvin and Hobbes skit was done on Robot Chicken, and I just added a new figure for my collection. She's Athena from the Lost in Space collection. Athena is the seductive green girl who had the hots for Dr. Smith. Oh, really? I don't remember a green girl in Lost in Space, but I immediately can think of the green-skinned girl on the original series of Star Trek. In fact, wasn't she played by Yvonne Craig, who played Batgirl in the '60s Batman series? I don't know. I don't know why I'm remembering it that way. Maybe that's a fact. Maybe it's not. Bonus says, well, I guess I annoyed Tom Paisley, so I'll be quiet now. I doubt that very much, Bonehead. D says, Stephanie, if you have a Roku, there's a lot of free streaming channels for Halloween right now. Yeah. 400 movies, Stephanie says. Wow, Pat. Bonehead says, Pat Savan, Harrington, I got one of these patches on. If you see me kind of scratch it, you know, I could barely move my head. I don't know why. I don't know what I did. But I have just been having all kinds of trouble. So I can just, I'm in a lot of pain. But yeah, it's hard for me to move my head. So you see me kind of playing around with my shoulder. I got one of those patches up there. Brett says, Jeff was still here when it was. Yeah, I mean, I could swear that was when I first started there. I don't know. It just seemed like it. I could be wrong, but it seemed to me like it was open till 9 at first. But it says Pat Harrington Schneider from ODAAT. I can't type tonight. Brett says, getting ready to leave. See you later, Brian. All right, Brett, we'll see ya. So I'll be there tomorrow. And I'll be there every day after tonight. I only take Sundays and Tuesdays off, and not even Sundays in October now because, you know, birthday parties coming up. So we're starting that now in the store. That's something else I'm just making available. I do like to take Sundays off though, because that's like one full day that I have off from my regular job and from the escape rooms or haunting or anything. But in October, I do make an exception. If somebody calls up and says, hey, you know, I see you're not open on Sundays, but my group would love to go in and do an escape room at 3 o'clock, you know, if I'm not doing anything, I would make an exception. Actually, I would make an exception throughout the whole year, really, as long as I'm not having other plans. Patty says, Yvonne played the insane green girl who had to kill her lovers. The first one was the menagerie. Ah, was in the menagerie. Gotcha. I thought that was Yvonne Craig. Hugh says, hey Hugh, thanks for joining us. I downloaded so many films on flash drives and now I have about 12 128 gigabyte drives completely full. Still, when I have something to watch on television, Chiller Night, Svengoolie, etc., I have to watch. Ah, very cool. I'm glad. I'm very thankful that you've included Chiller Night in there. I appreciate that. Tom says Susan Oliver was the green girl in the cage. Ah, are we talking the pilot episodes with Captain? Oh my gosh, my mind just went. Pike, Captain Pike, wasn't it Captain Pike? Bonus says, Brian, have you heard from Paul Lynch lately? How's our Manos man doing? I haven't. I think it's been a couple weeks since I've heard anything from Paul. Last I heard, he was doing fine. I hope he still is. Jason says, greetings from Cornhole and Ghoul Evening. Please go to the House of Terror. It's well worth it. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. And good luck with Cornhole tonight. So, John says, 2 women played Orion Green Girls. Yvonne Craig was one, but the first and most memorable one is from the first season was done by Susan Oliver. The first season, I mean, I guess we would include the pilot episode. Where was you talking about the pilot episode? Brian, you always need a day of rest, Patty says. I at least need one. I'll take at least one out of the week. because for the longest time I didn't realize I was just I had the bookings available Saturday and Sunday, and then it dawned on me after a while. Maybe I was there for like a year, my first year there, or something like that, and then I finally realized, like, hey, I don't have a day off, like ever. Like I don't have a day off. Even on Tuesday nights when I'm doing this, it's still like that's after my day of work, and then normally I'm working on something like doing the yard or something. So, um, yeah, so yeah, I'll take Sundays. Why not? Um, oh, and also I'm speaking of the chiller night and the escape rooms. Um, we do have now we have two, and these are I have bookings, of course, this weekend, which make it a little tight there because I got the no scare hours and of course the haunted house in the evening. But like everything else, we will just make it work. The witching hour and zombie outbreak. Now those are both 1 hour horror themed escape rooms. So if you have any interest in booking those, if you live in the area, and that is Cranberry Mall in Venango County, Pennsylvania. I gotta keep saying Venango County because my would-be customers keep ending up at the wrong mall, even though it's posted. But I don't know what else to do. 814-209-8214. You can call that number right there. That's the store number. Or you can book online at chillernight.com. So there you go. There's all the information you could want to successfully book your escape room experience at Chiller Night. So there. Great show, John says. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that. Thanks for joining us. Greetings from Franklin. All right. Not far from you. Michael Mac McBride says, evening all. Evening, Michael. Thanks for joining us. John says, Susan Oliver appeared in the pilot episode, The Cage, and the two-part episode, The Menagerie from season 1. That's right. Okay. Now it's coming back to me. I do enjoy. I haven't watched the series, the original series, for it's been a long time, but that was always like rivaled Star Wars with me. I really enjoyed the original, Captain Kirk, and Spock, and Dr. McCoy. But it's been a while since I've actually seen those. So the Cage, and then we had. The Menagerie, which was 1 and 2, and that was with wasn't that with Captain Kirk, and then they did a kind of a flashback as to how Captain Pike kind of ended up in his current state of physical decline, or whatever. Trying to remember that. I think that's about right. Susan Oliver, and Yvonne Craig. I do remember Yvonne Craig in that role as the green-skinned lady in Star Trek, and also, of course, Yvonne Craig from Batman, played Batgirl. Commissioner Gordon, the commissioner of the Gotham City Police Department, couldn't figure out that was his daughter. What? Oh my. Yeah, quite the, I don't know about the investigative skills that he had, but, wow. Dan says, The Deadly Years, best episode. Deadly Years. Thanks for joining us, Dan. I don't remember that. I've seen them all. I have the collection. I had the 3 seasons on DVD and the animated series from 1974, I believe it was. I think that was only 1 season. I could be wrong on that. I'm trying to remember. But I have all that stuff, and of course all the movies of the original series and the Next Generation. I think I have all of those movies as well. And I had all the episodes of the Next Generation, also. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the original series, so I did enjoy the original series a bit more. D says, just like no one could tell Clark Kent was Superman. Right, right. Kevin says, good evening, Kevin. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. Nobody could tell Clark Kent was Superman. Not even Lois Lane until he told her. But or did she figure it out? Here's the weird thing about that. Again, police investigator or an investigative journalist. Why? Where are your investigative skills? Shame on all of you. He was right there. He took off his glasses. Can you guys tell that this is, that this is me? Still me. Maybe I'll change my hair a little bit, scuff it up a bit. But I'm pretty sure no one would get confused over this. Yeah. At least back in the 30s, when they first started the whole thing, we had Clark Kent, mild-mannered Clark Kent, who, the persona just didn't fit the superhero, larger-than-life hero. Mild-mannered Clark Kent with his fedora, and the glasses, But, the George Reeves one, George Reeves, when he played him, he didn't even have a different hairstyle. At least Christopher Reeve, he had the little curly Q Superman trademark hair, and he did a really fantastic job. I will say this about Christopher Reeve. He did a really, really super good job at making two different personalities. He's kind of the bumbling. He had some pretty good comedic timing with his presentation of Clark Kent, and then he was all hero, when he was Superman. So there was that. But when you think about George Reeves, he was kind of the same guy, same voice, same look. I mean, really, that is funny when you think about that. Kevin says, how coincidental. I'm an original series fan as well. My children are named after series characters. Really? That's pretty cool. Very, very cool. Adam says, whoa, where did Brian go? Who's that guy on the screen now? Oh, well, I just saw him. He just left. Stephanie says, if this was me finding out Clark was Superman, I keep my mouth zipped. Patty says, Monster in the Closet had the same glasses joke as in Superman. Oh, yeah? I don't know. If only it were that easy to go from that to this. If all I had to do was take off glasses, and I have made that transformation from the wicked lord of the dark domain to this guy, I wish it was just like this. That reminds me, a year ago, last October, on the opening night of Jack Shadow's House of Terror, and I've told this before, but this reminded me of the whole Superman and transforming into a different persona, both physically and character-wise. I am there still in my shorts and t-shirts and tennis shoes, and I'm still building this. I'm still building on opening night at 7 o'clock when we've got a line of people out there. And I was working right up to and beyond the first few minutes of it. I mean, I remember the guy at the ticket booth, Dave, he and his wife were there, and he's looking at me like, I said, Dave, stall them. I'll be right there. This is at 7 o'clock. Zoom. I rushed back, and it kind of reminded me of the old Clark Kent changing in the phone booth, because I kicked it into overdrive. I went back, did a super quick change, and I was in my chair, ready to go, ready to meet the public at 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven. So that was probably, that had to have been the quickest I ever, and I don't want to do it again, but change into that costume. D says, it was really hard for me to view any of the Superman movies after his passing. It was years before I could watch them again. I know, weirdo. I don't know. He was, remember when that movie was coming out, and it says one of the kind of the what was it, the catchphrases for it or whatnot was "You'll believe a man can fly." I believe that was it. But there was in that first movie, anyways. There was that feeling of, I always think of that movie, with the John Williams score and just the. It seems so larger than life, that first Superman movie, and it did. There was something magical about it, almost like the first Star Wars movie, and I don't know. There was something to it, and so when he did pass away, it was, and it was the same way when George Reeves passed away, committed suicide, maybe, or whatever, whoever. But when he passed away, there were a lot of kids confused about that. Kids who couldn't separate the actor from the iconic role that he played. Well, how can that happen? Bullets bounce off of him. I remember, I think it was Mark Hamill. I was watching a documentary on that. I think Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, was saying something like that. Like, that confused him as a child, like with that. Well, how can that happen? So it was kind of a traumatic experience for the kids, even back like in the 50s when that happened. I don't know. Is that what year that happened? Late 50s, maybe going into the early 60s. Adam says, LOL. Spoiler alert, Brian. Roger says, hello, good evening, everyone. Hey, Roger, thanks for joining us. Dan says, love that guy, haha. Who, Jack Shadow? Hopefully it's Jack Shadow. SBC says, hello, everyone. Can't believe it. I'm too late. Nah, here you are. Yeah, it's only 8:40. Oh my gosh, I was gonna say we just started, but I guess 40 minutes ago, just about. That's all right. I wouldn't have. We didn't take attendance, so. Kevin says, I read that suicide rumor was incorrect. I don't think it was suicide. I just personally, I don't believe it was. It was look into it. Look into it. Al says, the first Superman movie was magical. I believe so. I believe it was. There was just something about it. Now the other ones, especially The Quest for Peace. What? Why? Or part 3 and 4 were just horrible, horrible movies. But, he had the look down. And we could tie these things in. I mentioned before about James Earl Jones. A few weeks ago, passed away. We were talking about Darth Vader. I think this is the connecting to the dots here. David Prowse. We got on talking about David Prowse, who played Darth Vader, the physique of Darth Vader, the body, the physical form. And David Prowse trained Christopher Reeve into bulking up for Superman. There's that connection. And to connect Superman with Chiller, all things Chiller Knight. Richard Donner directed Superman, and Richard Donner also was, the one who spearheaded the HBO's Tales from the Crypt series. So I feel like my work here is done. Dan says, I remember being so shocked when Margaret Kidder sunk underground in her car after the nuke hit. Yeah. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but yeah, when Lois, I'll just say Lois. Yeah. Uh, Dan says, yes, Jack. Oh, that's who I figured. Yeah. And then to have a being so powerful that he can reverse time. And if he could do that then, would you not want to maybe utilize that a few more? What would you be worried about at that point? If you could just turn back, the world, or maybe that just took a lot out of him. But he didn't even seem winded when he walked up to Lois Lane's car there after he turned things back a little bit. He just walked up. Hey, Lois. You know, he didn't look like he was too fazed by that. So I think I don't know. That's quite the tactic to use in a pinch. Superhero movies are no longer what they used to be. SBC says, I thought that they were. Yeah, I thought that they were good up until actually not all that long ago, and then it just seemed Marvel really, they just really shot themselves in the foot here. They were off to such a powerhouse start, with those movies and leading up to the Avengers and everything tying in. They had a really cool little system going there that, creating that universe. And then, like, what in the world did they do? It's like Star Wars. It's the same thing, They get something really great, a big, Titanic amount of success, and then they just like, go ahead and write that. You're not qualified? Go ahead. What do we care? Patty says, Hollywood Land is about what happened with George Reeves. They say he still haunts his house. Oh, is that right? Interesting. Al says Superman 4. Oh, Lord. Yeah. That was awful. Yeah, Dan says, yeah, Richard Pryor wasn't exactly a good balance. No, that was terrible. D says, I agree, George Reeves, not suicide. Perhaps the Superman curse? Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, that's too bad. What a shame. Especially such an iconic character as Superman. And just out of reach, I have not one, but 2 Superman statues. You've seen them. I've had them on here before, or at least one at a time. I don't think I've ever put both of them on here. Dean Cain killed Superman, Dan says. Really? Dean Cain, I've never watched The Adventures of Lois and Clark. I've never seen one episode of that, so I can't comment on that one way or the other. But he wasn't very good at that, I take it? Patty says, it wasn't a Superman movie, but a Richard Pryor movie. And don't forget that awful anti-nuke Superman one. Yeah, the Quest for Peace. Yeah, part 4. It was like, oh, that was so bad. Yeah. Why? Stephanie says, the only thing MCU missed out was the Avengers Mansion I've seen on the comics and cartoons. Yeah, that would have been neat to see that. Yeah, the Avengers Mansion. Yeah, I don't know. I hope, and I'm a little. Yeah, Brian, just don't. D says. I'm a little worried about this new chapter of the MCU with the Avengers. The next big heavy hitter villain is going to be Doctor Doom, which has always been my favorite, like my absolute favorite Marvel villain, and at times an anti-hero, kind of like the Punisher or Wolverine. He's not totally. He used to be just totally the cardboard cutout bad guy, and then he's evolved into a very complex, thankfully, character because I kind of like what the Marvel Comics has done with Doctor Doom over the decades. but I'm a little nervous because I haven't really seen Doctor Doom done right in these movies. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But them having Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom, um, I do have a gripe with comic books right now, and I know this is Chiller Night, but think of horror comics if you want. No, I guess that wouldn't really tie in. Well, just bear with me for a minute or two. Um, we're talking about superheroes anyways. But anymore, like I'll be looking at my social media feeds, and I'll see all kinds of stuff on here with like different comics. Um, they have done this multiverse thing to death so much that no stories have any value. And I've mentioned this before on here. The multiverse thing has been done so much that I'm reading something and I see Batman get his head blown off or something, or Superman kills Joker, and it's like there's no impact anymore. Like Marvel Comics back in the day when the original Green Goblin died, they should have kept them dead, but all right. But that was a very heavy comic book. That was a heavy story at the time, and that they kept that going for a while, for about 20 years, I think. Brought Norman back in the Norman Osborn back in the 90s, I believe. But still, like, to do something like that had significance in the storyline because you could always see where they were saying this happened in Avengers issue 68 way back then. There were always a continuity. There was a continuity, and so that meant something. But now you might as well just have a bunch of kids sitting playing with their little toys and write what you see your kids playing, because anymore that's all that the stories mean. There's no significance, there's no importance, there's no consequences to anything. You could blow up the world 1,000 times in these stories, means nothing because there is no continuity. There's no canon, there's no official storyline that means anything. And that's my problem, and I hope that they don't go that way with Star Wars, or if they've done that with Star Trek. They've done that with Star Trek to some degree. I don't think they're as bad as the MCU. Nothing's as bad as the MCU or DC Comics, but that's my little gripe. All right, I felt inclined to share, so I did. Yeah, Brian, don't. Oh, about the Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman. Skip. Oh, okay, D says. SBC says, how long until Superman is public domain? I don't know. That's a good question. Those the old cartoons might be, from back in the 40s. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. But the character himself, I don't know. It's a good question. How's that work? Kevin says they're probably going to ruin it like they did the X-Men. Probably. I have no confidence in writers anymore. These are not the same writers that I grew up with. The strong heroes, and they started out pretty good with these stories, and then they got so. Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started. D says, although Bruce Campbell was in the series, so there's that. He was in the Lois and Clark, really? I know he was in all the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, making his cameos. Stephanie says, I got my fingers crossed for Marvel. Me too. Oh, Bruce. Or he says, Patty says, bring back Cassandra Xavier. Boo hoo hoo. Okay. Boomstick. Kevin says, the multiverse is an excuse for no continuity and sloppy writing. Exactly. Exactly. You don't need, any one of us could sit here right now on this show and write a story, package it up, and say, there you go. It means nothing. We don't have to mean anything. We don't have to have good writing. We don't have to do any investigation into the character. We don't have to care. We don't have to. That's what it comes down to. We don't have to care about anything. If we did, we would attach our story and our continuity to something that did matter. But this stuff is just like, man, you're just shooting in the dark. There's nothing there. There's nothing there that means anything. And I will never be convinced it does, because when you're doing that, when you are doing that whole multiverse thing, yeah, nothing means anything. You could say, well, everything is Earth 1 and this is Earth. I don't get. When I'm looking at this stuff, I see, like, I'm reading this stuff and it's like, okay, now where did this happen? Where is, how did Robin kill Batgirl? I don't know. I mean, nothing means anything anymore. So, yeah, now it's just like, just kidding, reset. Yeah, it's video games. It's that video game mentality that nothing means anything. Nothing means anything. You just restart, just like these say. Yeah, you just reset. Oh well, Superman kills Wonder Woman and the Justice League, and Dr. Fate kills Hawkman, and oh well, we just next week we call it a different timeline. It's rubbish. SBC said, someone should make a superhero horror movie, Batman versus Dracula or Superman versus Frankenstein's monster. Yeah, kind of did that in a way with Spawn, maybe. I don't know if you want to consider that kind of a, or who else did they try that with? Mobius. I didn't even see that one, but at that point I was just getting so I was getting I was done after now the Thor movie Ragnarok, or I just, it was entertaining, but I watched that just like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? The wacky, zany adventures of Thor. Watch the first movie. Watch that first movie with Kenneth Branagh, who directed that movie. Now there's a guy with some talent, some skill, and then watch again the goofy, zany adventures of Thor, and how they turned that character into such a joke. And it took you out of it. It took you out of that experience of, I'm now talking about mythical god characters, into just a joke. Remember when they were doing the short little, the Marvel shorts where it was Thor and Daryl, and they were funny little things. They were just little funny, and Chris Hemsworth is he's very funny. He's got a lot of talent when it comes to that. He's very comedic, but that was funny because it was just a little thing on the side. It wasn't supposed to be the Marvel universe, And then they brought in the other guy, the Grandmaster with Jeff Goldblum. And he took over as Daryl's next roommate. Now that stuff was funny, but that's how they started making the movies. In fact, they even had Daryl, Thor's roommate, in those little short, funny humor skits in the movie Love and Thunder. He was actually in that. And after Love and Ragnarok, I started trailing off. I was like, I'm losing a lot of interest in these movies. And then after Love and Thunder, I was like, I'm done. I have no interest to see any of these garbage. Dan says, I know I'm off topic now, sorry. Oh, he says, I mean, Ah, wow, I'm sorry, I'm rambling because look how many I'm missing here. Dan says, Cesar Romero, best Joker ever. Yeah. Patty says, I think continuity went out the window with the introduction of the multivariate. They should have kept stuff, they should have kept that stuff for the What If comics. Exactly. Exactly. That's a perfect place for that stuff, the What Ifs. Which I remember reading those as a kid. And it's like, okay. But they didn't make, that's perfect. You are 100% right on that. Patty says there is a Superman horror. It makes him out as a child mass murderer. Sorry, I can't remember its name. What? Really? With the character of Superman? That, how? How did that? I don't get it. I don't get it. I can't believe. I'm shocked, Patty. I can't believe what I'm hearing. SBC says, when you start it again, make sure to get Bruce as a star guest for Chiller Night. Ah, that would be cool. If anyone knows him, put me in touch with him. Dan says, I mean, Ledger was really good, but old Caesar's laugh alone made him the best Joker, I think. Yeah, and his just defiance. I will not shave off my mustache. We will be painting over that. Thank you. Just that made it even better. Yeah. Dan says, I know I'm off topic now, sorry. No, we do this a lot, and I'm okay with that because I go with in the direction that you guys are giving me the topics, and sometimes I really trail off, but that's fine. It's just a fun, lighthearted hour, and there are no rules. Stay safe, all. Patty says. You too, Patty. Thanks for joining us. Dan says, the only Thor I like is GOW Ragnarok. Oh, yeah? Awesome Thor. Tom says, bye, Pat. D says, Thor, Love and Thunder. With the little face palm. Yeah. John says, you have been watching Chiller Night Live, hosted by Bryan Hogue. This is Krozak the Grand reminding you that the 31st will be here before you know it. That is true. There's only 16 days until Halloween. Until next week, stay chilled and keep thrilled. All right. And we are about at the top of the hour, folks. So, and I'm still trying to figure out if we can make this work with Jack Shadow. Are we going to see a Halloween special with Jack Shadow? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. We will see. God of War, sorry. Okay, I don't know. I didn't know that one. All right, thank you, Dan. Stephanie says, take care, y'all. See you next week. Al says, good night, everyone. Dan, the only video games I know, like of that magnitude, I'm assuming that I think that's a video game, are the Resident Evils. And even that, I am only knowledgeable about up to like the first 3, I think. So, D says, Patty, was it due to red kryptonite? Was it Brightburn, or am I thinking about something else? I want to know a little bit more about this. Patty, did you go yet? Okay, next week we'll have to pick this back up. I mean, somebody remind me because I get a lot going on, and I forget sometimes these topics. But that seems like a pretty big deal. Superman becoming like a mass child murderer. Now I've got a problem with that. I mean, besides the obvious, but we're gonna probably branch off next week, and that's okay. It's just a fun hour. Kevin says, thanks for the show. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us, and you're welcome. Patty says, Brightburn. That's it. Thanks. Dan says, love to see Jack again. All right, I would too. So maybe so. Adam says, what do you think of SpaceX's most recent success, catching the rocket booster with Mechazilla, aka the chopsticks? I think that's fantastic. I'm excited when I see stuff like that. But yeah, we can. Yeah, maybe I should mention that next week. because that is so awesome. SBC says, see you all next week. Stay healthy and watch some superhero movies. And Manos, yeah. There's one in there for Paul. Paul, if you're watching this later, everyone's still thinking about you and Manos. Dan says, check out Thor in was it God of War? God of War. He's nuts. Oh yeah. All right. Well, hey everybody, thanks for joining me and each other for tonight's Chiller Night Live. Have a good night. Have a good chiller night, and we will see you next week.